All right, cool. Excellent. Now, this is a stream that I was not expecting to make it. You know what? I'm just gonna mute this for a sec. Um, honestly, look, I was playing. I was playing like something different. I was playing like Mega Man X Dive, and then I just saw, oh yes, there's a dev live stream that just happened, and people are just talking about stuff regarding like classes and whatnot. And I got spoiled on certain things, but I haven't seen the whole stream. And I just wanted to see the whole stream and just see what the hell they actually did change, and a bunch of the, well, essentially a bunch of the stuff that they actually did change. Um, Let me just get rid of some stuff. Let me just put this. Just do avoid spoilers because I know people are just eager to essentially just talk about things relatively quickly. By the way, it's still starting. I will be jumping around and just see what we have here. So, as you've seen right here, this is the latest developer livestream that literally just happened earlier today. And I just wanted to go ahead and sit down and see what the hell is even going on, because I've known there are certain things that I know I got spoiled on. The first thing that I know I got spoiled on was the the rings. Yes, and the other thing that I got spoiled on was the tiny quest being pushed back, but something that we already knew. But outside of that, I don't know anything that just happened in this live stream, so I'm just going to be going ahead and just watching everything and see what the hell do we have here. So this, I'm going to be probably jumping around throughout the whole thing. It's not that long. It's like 50 minutes long, and I would assume there is like um giveaways in between, like they usually do. So it's more than likely going to be like half an hour in total. So yeah, I'll probably just increase it. Let me just lower the volume on my headset a little bit because it's too loud on my headset. Even though like it is like nothing here. So I'm not going to put the volume like really loud, like much louder than me. You can watch the stream. Um, I can actually, hold on. Let me give you guys the link. Let me put the link. Oh, this happened 10 hours ago. Just go ahead and go over here. Go into the chat. You can just start out here. I put in the link. Let me just pin it. There you go. If you want to just go ahead and just skip and watch it yourself, then you can just feel free to do so. I am not going to do anything else. But either way, let me put this again. Let me increase the audio volume a little bit. Maybe, yeah, no. I don't want it too loud either. I don't want it to just overshadow everything. So, obviously, I am going to be just listening to all of this and then just giving my own personal feedback. Hold on. So, let's move on.
We got.
Okay. All right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, Trovians, to the Trove Developer live stream for April 16th.
It's only not yet.
We got some
Okay.
exciting new stuff to talk about. Yeah, so kind of at the top, a couple things to make sure that you guys watch the end of the stream because we're going to be doing some giveaways throughout the stream. And we're also going
Of
to be doing
course.
a bigger giveaway at the end with some stuff that
That's
you're
all. That
probably going to be
always
interested in.
happens.
So yeah, I guess I should introduce myself. I'm not yet working on Trove, and I'm here. Going to show off what we're going to be doing for the next patch. But first, there's a couple things.
Me when reading it. Me when reading a script. That always happens. No, doing live streams is not easy. I'm just gonna say that much.
I know we had
Especially if
gotten
not you're not used to it.
A couple questions, so kind of wanted to dive into those real quick.
Okay. Straight to the
So
point.
there's been some questions about some of the downtimes and login issues we've had recently.
Yes.
So some
As far as I know, the login issue happened mainly on. As far from what I've known, it's mainly on PC. I haven't had that issue on Xbox. I did have that issue a little bit on PC a little while back, but not on Xbox. So that issue usually is mainly on PC, but I've heard it is everywhere, but it's mainly on PC.
players ask, like, it seems like we've been having a decent amount of those recently. We believe we've gotten past all those issues, but just kind of to let you guys know, we've been making a lot of adjustments to our systems, and it is aimed at improving the user experience. But sometimes some of the old, this time at this point, Trove is over 10 years old. There's
Yes.
some interaction between old technology and new technology that don't work exactly as as we had planned, but we believe we fixed all the major issues. And of course, every patch we put out, we're putting out more fixes, more crash fixes, things like that.
Not gonna sound well. I'm going to sound like a complete ass, but I don't care. I've known games that have been alive for way longer than Trove. Servers work perfectly fine. They don't have like a lot of login issue. I've known a game that is how old is it? Like 27, 28 years old. Still live server and still working just fine.
That.
Not an
And with
excuse.
this upcoming patch, we actually have a number of crash fixes. So we're hoping to make the game even
Still good.
more stable than it is. And yeah. And then I know a big one that players are probably asking in chat right now about is about the marketplace on PC. So the
Yes.
marketplace, it is going to be open very soon. I can't provide
Very soon trademark. That always happens. Poor PC players. You guys get the short end of the stick for oh boy. You guys get the short end of the stick for these for the marketplace. Marketplace is so important. I don't know why they essentially take so long. I mean, it's not necessarily their fault. Their fault. It's like it's mainly the players' fault. I'm gonna be so real with you. The players is the one that actually just destroy the whole market, not the devs.
an exact date, but I can announce that when we do open the marketplace, we are going to be providing some compensation for it being down. We are very close, but I can't.
Where's the
provide an
FPG?
exact date, but you should be expecting that before too long. Another question that players might be asking is where is the Tiny Quest patch? So obviously we've had that on PTS for the last I think almost like month now. We are actually going to be putting out the patch we're going to be talking about today before the Tiny Quest patch.
Okay.
And the reason for that is we wanted to do some additional work on the Tiny Quest feature.
You need a lot of work on that quest. I've been very honest with you. Well, not with the devs. I don't think the devs even watch. I don't think any of them watches any of my or anything that I've said. But Tiny Quest is a disaster of an update essentially. Not because of the idea, is the execution. I've always said this. The idea is okay, is fine, but the execution was by far one of the worst executed updates that I've ever seen in any video game ever. The fact that he essentially just made it so that the player had to wait an obscene amount of time and the reward was just very, very, very small. It essentially just made it so that no player, it, it was not worth going for the most part. So yeah, it needed a lot of adjustment. I don't think anyone liked the update. If I'm being real, maybe the few exceptions, the few people that go like, "Oh yes, I like the update." Mainly, a lot of people don't like it.
feature before we released it, and as such, we had to move another patch in to release first. But Tiny Quest will be releasing very soon. There
Hmm.
were just some things that we wanted to make sure were in place so that the patch in the future could be as good as as great as it can be. We think it'll be a really fun thing for players to play with, and we want to make sure that it is in tip-top shape before you guys see it.
Okay,
And then kind of a couple kind of smaller questions
obviously
about Tiny Quest that we gotten is they were talking. Somebody asked about the ally stats. I think the last time I talked to you guys a couple months ago
they suck.
about Tiny Quest, I think
They
I had
suck.
said that the Tiny Quest allies, when you level them up, they would get up to double the stats. There, it is the stats that are on PTS are not final and
Hmm.
are planned to be adjusted. So just know
Yeah, yeah. Scorpio's 4% physical damage 30 like was not was not good for leveling up an ally all the way to level 30. That was not good. So that's to be expected. It's not to be expected, but yeah, it should be like pretty obvious that the stats that you got from the previous allies were not good.
that the stats that are currently on PTS, we do have some plans for adjusting those.
Hmm.
Um, and the there was also a question about kind of the number of tiny quests that there are and the rewards. And the answer to that is that we're going to continue adding new quests and new quest rewards as time goes on. There'll certainly even be more likely before it goes from PTS to live. And the Tiny Quest feature is also something where we plan for it to be something we integrate into a lot of our seasonal events. So there'll be certain things with rewards
Oh
and
god.
specific quests that will be tied to those events. So definitely look out for that. And then another
Wait, hold on, timeout. So probably they're talking about the rewards that you get from the tiny quest, not the fact that the seasonal event will require you to do tiny quests, because at the end of the day, tiny quests are time gated. Hopefully not. That's not the case. But remains to be seen.
Another question that we get a lot is about the Nintendo Switch version. We know that Nintendo Switch version is a little bit behind, has missed a couple events.
Yes.
We're actively working to get the Nintendo Switch version back up to being in parity with the other versions of the game. And that's all I can really say is that we are working to get that back in line. And let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, why don't we get into the patch?
Before I go into the actual patch, I'm so afraid about. I don't even want to see the chat going on with people just spouting nonsense, because we all know how the troll community is. Especially right now, they're probably going crazy in the chat. A lot of people, especially like a lot of people that are normally in Discord server, they're probably going a little bit crazy. I don't even want to read chat.
So yeah, the patch, and this will be is currently planned to be going to our public test server uh, on like at the beginning of next week, and the
Oh,
new patch is
so next week test server. So yeah, next week test server with the new update. And this is probably the thing that I know that I got spoiled on, which is the rings.
called
So
Ring It On. We are going to be releasing Mystic Rings on on PTS.
okay, even though I already knew I got spoiled on the Mystic Ring. Oh god. Okay, so I'm just gonna be No, I always am very skeptical with this. I am very skeptical with all of the updates nowadays, especially considering the more than likely it's going to take resources from both the Paragon levels, which the Paragon stuff got duped like crazy, especially with Parapinatas, and maybe the Mystic stuff, which is probably going to be also the depth cores and all of those stuff. More than likely, it's going to cost. It's more than likely going to cost Deepstone, also the depth and depth cores to actually just get the Mystic Gem alongside the Paragon stuff, and maybe potentially new resources because they always will add new resources. That I am afraid because especially how they implemented the original Paragon levels, the Paragon system, how they implemented before, it was extremely time consuming, extremely grinding, but they obviously just adjusted it in due time. And considering the philosophy that they've been going lately, I'm I'm pretty afraid on how they are going to essentially just make the new update or the new Mystic Ring either craftable and all of this stuff.
And to go to live soon thereafter. So yeah, you guys will be able to craft new mystic rings with
Yes.
new hidden effects. And as part of this, when we looked
Yeah, that's another thing that I got spoiled on. Hidden effects, new ones. Now the question is it going to have the same like the old hidden effects with the new hidden effects, or is it just strictly the new hidden effects? Because if it is strictly the new hidden effects, then what about the old ones? Like, some old hidden effects are good. Like, they're good for the character. Blast Bow, Cyclone, for example. Well, mainly Cyclone for Boomeranger, for example. Spin to Win Weekend the Barbarian, Speed Spear with the Revenant. Um, some maybe Overcharge with the Knight, of course. They are there are certain hidden effects that are really really good. So I don't know if they're going to add in alongside the new ones, and even more so, it's going to be extremely. If that's the case, it is going to be even more annoying because if they keep the same old system, like if it is just completely random with all of the hidden effects, like for example, let's just say they add in 3 new hidden effects for Mystic Rings. That means that there are 6 hidden effects in total, and they're going to appear randomly instead of just being able to just pick and choose whichever hidden effect that you want. That should be the case, especially if you add more options.
at like, hey, how are we going to do Mystic Rings? How
Anyways,
can we, one of the things we thought, certainly are going to make Mystic Rings more interesting, where it's just not just a stat increase, is adding new hidden effects. Some of these hidden effects are, certainly enhance the class. Some of them, basically wholesale replace an ability, right? And so we're going to be covering a lot of that today. And as part of that,
okay,
we're giving a lot of love to some of the
interesting.
classes that aren't I'd say that aren't ones that players currently think are the most effective, or maybe don't play as fun as some of the others. So we'll be getting into that as well. So, but I think first,
Okay, can you repeat that one more time, please, and thank you.
that players currently, and as part of that, we're giving a lot of love to some of the classes
Hmm?
that aren't I'd say that aren't
Hmm?
ones that players currently think are the most
Rebalancing?
effective, or maybe don't play as fun as some of the
Rebalancing?
others. So we'll be getting into that as well. So, but I think
Hidden effects and class rebalancing, those are two really, really, really big stuff, by the way. These are two really, really big. This could be really big, depending on how it's implemented, obviously, considering the track record. I'm very afraid. But class rebalancing, or at least some rebalancing for certain classes plus hidden effects.
first, before we start diving into
Okay.
the nitty gritty of stuff, why don't we do our first giveaway? So, similar to the
Okay.
last one, we are doing we're going to be giving away some of the Capybara ally.
So yeah, obviously giveaway already happened, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. So let's just give forward.
Be talking about some, I'd say some larger balance changes for people, and you'll.
Okay.
But I think first, before we start diving into the nitty gritty of stick, and here.
Stick.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna draw 4 people, and yeah, obviously you can see me standing here next to our buddy Cranny. And going to be starting with, once we get to it, going to be starting with the Candy Barbarian and showing off the new effect that we've added for the Candy Barbarian.
Candy Bar first, obviously. You can see it right there.
Yeah, we're not going to be showing every single class and effect. We want to kind of leave some stuff for you guys to delve in.
That is something that I will do. I will probably just go into a test server and hopefully try to being able to do the testing on all of the classes and see how it works. So yeah, be on the lookout on that one. I'll be doing testing, hopefully, on all of the classes. If we are able to do testing, if they give us enough material to do the testing on all the classes.
Into when we get to the PTS, but we'll probably be showing about half the classes, and be talking about some I'd say some larger balance changes for a handful of them. So that'll be what we'll dig into. All right, so we'll probably close this here in just a second. So you have
static. Congrats to you.
On we have a new effect. No pun intended. Okay, so the Candy Barbarian. Okay. So for the Candy Barbarian, we have a new effect for rings. So this one, and I'll show it here. We have it here on this ring. There is also
Cherry Bomber. Using Vanilla's Whirlwinds shortly after Sugar Crash causes Cherry Bomb Cluster to draw up to 5 enemies in the area. So using Vanilla's Whirlwind, your first ability after you use the Sugar Crash, so your leap, you're just going to draw some Cluster Bomb to up to 5 enemies in the area. Depending on damage multiplication, it could be hit or miss. It could be pretty decent.
So
depending on damage,
a generic effect that I'll show off, which is Rushed Escape, which I think actually players will find interesting.
So there's a universal ability then. So Rush Escape is a universal ability across all of the characters.
Once we get to maybe a couple classes in, I'll probably show that off. Actually, I'll just show that off for now. Why not? Okay, so I think I have one here.
Okay, Rush Escape grants a short duration movement. Wait, what the hell? Grants a short duration movement speed increase after dodging. So that's essentially the Shadowhunter passive. So you're essentially giving the Shadowhunter passive to every class in the game. By the way, the quality is like kind of off, but that's the highest that I can get. By the way, if the quality is like very, very rough on your end. So essentially, so first of all, does it stack with the Shadowhunter dodge? If it doesn't, then what's the point in using the Shadowhunter already? Like, give it. That's number one. Number two, if it is like as good as the Shadowhunter, if you get the 40% movement speed increase, it all depends on how much you get. Which more than likely is not going to be able to show. So, yeah. But yeah, this is a universal ability, which now thinking about it, it can be quite rough because the more I think about it, it's like the other abilities have to be like insanely good for you to take anything over the Rush Escape or take anything over this ability, because movement speed is just really, really strong in this game. And especially if the movement speed buff on Rush Escape is as good as the Shadowhunter dodge, then the other abilities need to be insanely strong. Because if we're talking a 40% movement speed increase, or heck, even a 30% movement speed increase, that's insanely powerful for any type of character in the entirety of the game. Especially with certain character where you can stack this with another movement speed buff. Essentially, by the way, this essentially just makes the Shadow Hunter so obsolete. If it doesn't stack with the Shadow Hunter. If it stacks with the Shadow Hunter, then the Shadow Hunter is disgusting. But I can just imagine this with like a Bard, Neon Ninja, Luna Lancer. Oh my god, Luna Lancer is going to be so disgusting with Need for Speed. Wait, no, you cannot use Need for Speed. So you cannot use Need for Speed because it hidden effect. It's going to be Bard. Bard is going to be so disgusting. Holy mamma mia! Because Bard already has a 40% movement speed buff plus this. I'm gonna keep going on, but this can be an insanely game changer. And depending on how strong the other hidden effects are, this is probably going to be like your end all be all what you're going to end up using on any character for the most part.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one that every class will be able to use.
Oh my god. Wait. I just thought about it. The knight. Even though the dodge is so ass. Oh, holy Jesus, the knight is going to end up having a percentage movement speed buff if that's the case. Oh, Dios mío, me muero. Anyway.
And that's when you, after you use the dodge, you get a speed increase. So this is, this is a thing that the Shadow Hunters can already do. And so this is basically giving this effect to every class in the game. And so yeah, this will be one option that is a generic option for every class. And
oh my god, that is insane. That is freaking
the
wild.
Rushed Escape. And then let's go ahead and I will drag over the one for the Candy Barbarian, and this one is.
I would assume it's only one ability.
The Cherry Bomber. So how this one works is when you use your vanilla Swirlwind right after
this ability.
Sugar Crash, it causes these cherry bombs to fall from sky and hit up to 5 enemies. So how that looks is if you go, make sure I do it right.
Sugar Crash, vanilla Swirlwind.
You guys can see it. Is hit this. Yeah, and then you can see it. It's a little fast, but you jump and then you swirl, and then 5 enemies will get hit.
That's
there's
really
actually
strong.
A couple enemies that are stacked.
That does
right here,
quite a
so
bit of damage,
little,
but I don't know.
You might see a couple of times,
we need to check the multiplication.
Yeah, use the Sugar Rush.
Because especially since if you hit with Sugar Rush, you can get the passive ability, which gives you a damage increase. So you can essentially just get a damage increase plus that ability. But at that point, just use Rush Escape. It's just better.
Rush, and then do the swirl, and there you go. They'll cause gives Candy Barbarian a little bit of extra kind of ranged AoE. Obviously, it's only up to 5 enemies, so it's not like it does cap at a certain level, but it'll give that Candy Barbarian some extra options.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's the new hidden ring effect.
It's interesting, but it's kind of
Let's go ahead and move over to the Dracolite.
Okay, Dracolite?
Okay.
The Draco means?
Dracolite, here is, okay. So let's see, all right, there it is. All right.
What
so
the hell?
One, I can read the description.
Split fire. When triggering split fire, you send a powerful fiery projectile in all directions. However, your familiar charges slower. What the hell? That's relatively interesting for Dracolite, especially considering that there's a lot of projectile, and I would assume that all of those projectile deal damage each and every single one. So if you essentially just shotgun your way into a boss, you can dish out some disgusting damage depending on the damage output.
Is when triggering Spitfire, you also send powerful fiery projectiles out in all directions. However, your familiar charges up slower. So there is a bug with this currently, so just kind of ignore this, is that
I'm surprised that there's a bug already.
you can kind of just spam it. But basically how it's going to work is like this, is that when you do use it, it shoots fireballs out in all directions. So it does have a really good amount of distance. You can see it shoots really far.
That is a
but it does charge up slower now than it used to. So yeah, this will be another new effect there for
that's interesting.
for our Draculite players. I think it's going to be quite nice.
That's interesting. That one is interesting.
Don't pay too much attention to the cooldown on this because it certainly needs to be able to charge up normally, but yeah, it doesn't right now. So yeah, and then let's go ahead and move on to the Ice Sage.
Ice Sage, okay. Place one hidden effect per character. One new hidden effect.
Okay, so we have the Ice Sage. And,
I guess.
Yeah,
it's
so for the
hit.
Ice Sage, let's see.
Does it have to do with Ice Crash?
So I think this
Big
one.
Chill?
Yeah, okay. So this one you need near enemies to really kind of see it. But what it does is, I can actually just read the description.
I'm just gonna read it myself. Ice Crash replaced with Frozen Tempest, increasing the movement speed of the Ice Age, damaging and slowing near. Interesting. Ice Crash is a really, really fast ability. And you can just activate it immediately, especially with jumps. But Rush Escape gives you more movement speed. So
Crash was replaced with Frozen Tempest, increasing the movement speed of Ice Age and damaging and slowing nearby enemies while active. So when you use the ability, now it obviously these enemies aren't moving, so it's hard to really see, but it will deal damage nearby and slow them. You can see the little kind of frosty effect on them. That's the slow. But yeah, if they were moving, they would be slowed. So it kind of gives you an extra ability instead of that kind of ice, normal Ice Crash. You're able to kind of run through enemies and slow and AOE them. So
that could be really interesting depending on how many enemies it hits for delves. For like low mid delving, especially. Because for low mid delving, you don't need that. You don't need the Rush Escape movement speed. Like you can easily go with Pathfinder with and your ult for movement speed. And you can just keep activating this ability so you can keep hitting because it's essentially just a low cooldown big chill. So you're going to be able to hit a lot of enemies like really quickly. It all depends on damage. So this could be interesting for like low delving for Ice Ages.
So that replaces that with that hidden effect. Okay, let's move to the Knight.
Hey, there's the Knight. Let's see.
So this is, I know, a class that players have talked about quite a bit.
Yes.
And hopefully this will give our Knight players a little bit more to play with.
Probably going to be very difficult to defeat the Rush Escape. Just going to sell that much. That movement speed increase is kind of delicious. But let's see what we have. Let's see what Knight has.
All right. So for the Knight, so this one's going to be quite a bit different. It actually kind of flips one of the Knight's abilities kind of on its head. Replaces Iron Will with momentum shift. When activated, increases the Knight's damage, stability, attack speed, and regeneration. When inactive, increases the Knight's health regeneration and movement speed. So
actually, I gave this suggestion a little while back. Like a long time ago, I actually gave this suggestion. Iron Will needed to do something else. Iron Will, god damn, that's insane.
So just baseline the Knight with this is going to move faster and have increased regen. I think it was health regen, right? Yeah, health regen. And then when we use the ability, you can see it makes you all huge.
This could be really good for five farming.
Huge and super powered. So yeah, so this is a new thing for the knight. Being able to, usually this ability is more about protecting others, but this one it's like, maybe
That
the knight
knockback,
needs to, be able to
that knockback is disgusting.
dish out some damage himself, and maybe it needs to do things. Maybe it needs to do things himself, right? Or itself, I guess. And yeah, let me see. Clear cooldown. Okay. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna do it one more time. Get all big. Run at them. Rawr. Yeah, and then dish out the big damage with super stats and
God
making it extra
damn.
big.
That knockback is disgusting. That knockback is not normal. They implemented that in the Tiny Quest update, or at least I've noticed that during when I was going on the test server in Tiny Quest, that knockback is absolutely disgusting, and that's kind of ew. But that is a really strong ability. Holy Jesus. That is a really strong ability. You get, so when you activate it, you have attack speed damage increase. When you don't have it, you have and health. Essentially, you just get the buff from the big move from like the Boomeranger ult or something like that, which is quite a bit of damage, by the way. You get like quite insane amount of damage normally. So we have to wait and see. And when you don't have it, you get a movement speed increase. So that's pretty insane.
All right, and then let's go over to the. Let's see.
Just hope the audio is
I
good.
can go over to the
'Cause it keeps
gunslinger. I'm
saying
gonna check one thing.
it keeps saying that my audio is like kinda rough. Let me hold on.
The
'Cause it keeps
gunslinger. I'm
saying
gonna check one thing.
projectile deal damage each and every single one. I mean, it's all right. Like I'm hearing normally.
Real quick.
Nice gunslinger. But yeah, the one from the night is relatively interesting. Don't know if you can beat the rush escape. It all depends on how much movement speed you get. But based on the movement speed that I noticed, it didn't seem that much. It didn't seem that big of a difference. It probably seemed like a 30. Like a 30 movement speed.
I'm gonna check one thing real quick.
It seemed like a 30 movement speed. Maybe 40, but it seemed like a 30 movement speed.
Yeah, why don't we?
Which is not that much different than
do
Overcharge.
that second giveaway, which is why the next class we're gonna do is the Fey Trickster. That
word this time?
I don't.
You don't?
So yeah, we're going with Blink for the next one. Go ahead and tie the next class we're gonna do is the Fey Trickster. That's why I named that one Blink.
Yeah, Blink.
So yeah, we're going with Blink for the next one. Go ahead and type into chat Blink. Fey Trickster.
So Fey, what the hell does Fey have? What the hell? Okay. Let's see.
All right, and yeah, we'll give you guys an extra few seconds, but yeah, make sure.
Gonna be prodded.
Yeah, congrats.
I'm gonna skip forward.
About, make a quick change, and actually, one of these I actually need to.
Kind.
Make a quick change. Let's see.
Blink.
Yeah, just put a random different on. Okay, so all right. So the first change is that the Fey Trickster has had their jump height increased, and it actually increases.
I did not like that slow fall. I did not like that slow fall. That looks so disgusting. That no.
At levels 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, and 30. So here.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting stream. I was not going to do it, but when I saw that when I got spoiled about the Mystic Ring, I had to do it. And some of the hidden effects, well, not some, but at least that they were hidden effects in Mystic Ring. So that's why I'm here.
I guess I'm technically on level 1, but where's that paragon
Oh, that snowfall is so gross.
level? But yeah, it's it'll increase as you level at those levels 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And then at the same levels, your movement speed will increase.
Wait. So that's just Fate Trickster by default. Time out. That's not even the hidden effect. That's just Fate Trickster by default. So Fate Trickster by default is going to get a movement speed increase, so it's going to be in the same realm, probably like Neon Ninja high up there with like +6. And it's going to get a jump increase, which is
Yeah,
new.
just put random differing on. Okay, so
I don't know if we get the old head effects on Misty Rio or only the new one. That was the thing that I was asking, if we were going to get the older and new ones. If we're getting, but from the looks of it, some of these new ones seems like far better than a lot of the old ones. Like thus far, from what I've noticed. But if that's the case, if we are getting the old one alongside the new ones, with the current system on rings, where every single time that you craft the ring, the ability is completely random, it's going to be so disgusting and so like so bad. If that's the case, if we're going to get like the old, the old hidden effects alongside the new ones.
all right, so the first change is that the Fate Trickster has had their jump height increased, and it actually increases at levels 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, and 30. So here, I guess I'm technically on level 1, but where's that Paragon level? But yeah.
That is Paragon level, my friend.
It's
Because regular level is supposed to be green, unless they changed it. And I don't think they did. But if it is this color, it is Paragon. If it is green, it should be in the regular level.
it'll increase as you level at those levels 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And then at the same levels, your movement speed will increase. And one that you might have already noticed is that now after jumping, there's a slow fall effect on
Oh god, Fate Tracer is going to be so gross to use now.
the Fate Trickster. So when you jump around, you have the slow fall effect. It doesn't last forever, but certainly you can kind of feather it where you kind of jump, get it again. It lasts a few seconds.
Unless no, it's the same regular speed. It's just going to be so gross. Anything vertical related with Fate is going to be so
you
gross.
Kind of do a lot of extra flight there with Fate Trickster. Also, the basic attack from both when you're normal and when you're ego boosted is increased. Hard to see here because I'm kind of using a cheaty account, but yeah, so that's going to be increased.
Not by this. So higher damage multiplication. Keep that in mind. The current multiplication is 6.5 with passive. Without passive, doesn't matter. No one should be using Fate Tracer without the passive. Is 6.5 currently.
And
alive.
then also the whoops. The resistance on Blink has been.
I was loud as hell, but thank you for the follow. That scared the living hell out of me. That scared the living hell out of me. That was so loud. Oh my god. Thank you for the follow. If you go to if you went to Twitch. I'm not streaming on Twitch. I'm here on the YouTubes. I don't have drops. I requested the drops twice, or was it 3 times? I never got it back, and I was like, oh, well, who cares? Screw it. What do I think about the Shadowhunter effect on every single class? Hmm. Is conflicting, to say the least. Because on one hand, insane, every single class gets a a potential 40% movement speed increase. Certain classes are going to be absolutely ridiculous. Bard is the first one that comes to mind because it does have the ultimate ability plus class gem. Well, the ultimate ability class gem plus that ability, which you can just combine both of them. And Neon Ninja is another class that is going to be absolutely disgusting with that. Let's see. It's some classes, not all of them, not all of the classes, because for example, Lunar Lancer, you cannot use Need for Speed because Need for Speed is a hidden effect. Same with Candy Barbarian with spin with Vanilla Swordwind, full spin to win. Revenant is going to be so gross. Oh wait, no, Speed Spears. Never mind. Speed Spears. It's certain classes that will do like really well with this hidden effect. The problem that is one, like on one end, like it gives so many options to certain classes, but on the other hand, it's like that's one of the things that made the Shadowhunter unique. Even though it was like really strong on the Shadowhunter, that's one of the things that made it unique. And the other thing is like it more than likely it's not going to stack with the Shadowhunter. So what does the Shadowhunter is going to end up being? And if it stacks with the Shadowhunter, like I just mentioned, if it stacks with the Shadowhunter, it's going to be absolutely gross. The Shadowhunter will be so disgusting. It will be by far like the best speed farming on ever. It's not even going to be close. Like classes are already destroying Long Shade really quickly. Shadowhunter is going to absolutely, it's going to zoom in so fast if it stacks with both of them. It's going to be so gross. Like we had to wait and see until we get it on the test server. But as it stands right now, like if it works with the Shadowhunter, Shadowhunter is disgusting. If it doesn't work with the Shadowhunter, then what the hell is the point with the Shadowhunter? If any class can technically just have it. I don't know. We have to wait and see.
Increased by 25%. So, whoops.
Let me go back.
But yeah, so that's going to be increased. And then also the whoops. The the distance on blink has been increased by 25%. So you do blink further forward, and that actually, and this is the reason why blink was the keyword for the last giveaway, is that the
Nice.
ring effect also is has to do with blink. So the ring effect for the new hidden ring effect for the Fate Trickster is.
Did I just read that right? Hold on. Blink teleports you further, but no longer creates a ah, damn! What the hell is that teleport? Every single time that you press the blink ability, what the hell do you get? A loading screen? Like, blink in itself is getting a buff, plus this hidden effect is going to give it even further teleportation, like more range.
The ring effect for the new hidden ring effect for the
What?
Fate Trickster is that when you blink, you
God
blink.
damn!
Has to do with blink. So
That distance is
the ring effect,
disgusting.
the new hidden ring effect for the Fate Trickster is
Like literally went from here to the other side. That is like what? It's like 20 block range?
that when you
It's a 20 block range teleport that you can't spam because it doesn't have a cooldown. Ok.
blink, you blink even further. So it's pretty sizable here. Like, you know, you can kind of blink
Okay, so that's the range.
for the Fate Trickster
I'm gonna
is
keep
that
going
when you
back and forth.
blink,
I don't
you
care.
blink even further. So it's pretty sizable here. Like, you know, you can kind of blink.
So it went from the entrance to around here. That's the range. That's the range that we God damn.
Uh,
To right there. Stack energy regen, which you will have more because hidden effect. Well, Misty Ring is going to have more stats. Plus, energy regen staff. Oh, mamma mia! You can just spam. You can just essentially two teleport into the next dungeon.
you know, let's say about 3/4 the way across the kind of starting platform. But you don't leave a copy behind anymore. So it's got a little bit of a drawback there.
Who cares about the copy? Drawback. The decoy sucks anyways. For that distance, who cares about the decoy? Decoy sucks anyways.
Yeah, so that'll be kind of or rather, you don't leave your decoy behind, but it increases it actually by double. So it goes, we increase the base blink from from distance of 6 to 8, and then with the ring effect, it goes to 16. So it's much
16. 16 block teleport. Holy mommy. It's really insane. Imagine like anyone who can play Trove, go with a Fate Trickster, put energy regen, and just keep spamming blink. Keep spamming blink. What you're seeing right there with that is 6 blocks. With this hidden effect and the buff that the Fate Trickster is going to get is 16. So you're essentially moving it's like more than 2.5 times than what we have right now. Or close to 2.5 times. Because 2.5 times would be 16, 16, 12, 3, 15. No, it's actually more than 2.5 times. Because 2.5 times would be 15.
further. And so you can blink really far apart. So a lot of extra kind of movement stuff that we go into the Fate Trickster.
It's
And
going to be
thought it was very fitting.
so disgusting. But
The
that slow pull is so gross.
It makes sense that they have a lot of extra movement, especially in the sky. So we think that makes the Fate Trickster have a little bit extra kick to it and some extra fun for when you're playing it. So yeah. Let's see. Let's go to the. We got a couple other bigger ones with a bit more changes, but I think we'll move to the Gunslinger. All right.
Gunslinger, okay.
Let's see. All right. So we're moving to the Gunslinger. All right. So for the Gunslinger, let's. Yeah, Gunslinger. So for the Gunslinger, this is one that actually does a full replace on an ability. So it replaces, so you can read it here. Blast Jump is replaced with Proximity Mine, which explodes after 3 seconds or when an enemy is near. You can see on my one ability there which here is proximity mine. You can see it actually has 5 charges there.
Okay.
And what this allows you to do is you can throw down proximity mines. So you can see here. So when an enemy moves over them, so you can have up to
That's
5.
just
They do explode after.
That's just Shadowhunters. That is literally Shadowhunters Sun Snare. It literally is Shadowhunter Sun Snare. Sounds like a completely brand new ability, but that's literally Shadowhunter Sun Snare. It's the exact same thing.
A few seconds, but yeah, you can put them down. Obviously, if enemies are chasing you and you're backing up and you're shooting at them and you throw down proximity mines, you can kind of while they're chasing you, you can kind of do some extra AoE damage. You can see here when it's near an enemy, it just immediately explodes and does AoE.
It's going to make the Gunslinger pretty okay at low portal, but would you rather have that or rather have like more movement speed with the dodge? Don't know.
And yeah, there's 5 stocks on that. Once it's out, then you have to wait for it to recharge. But you can see once it starts recharging, you can use it already, even when you have only 1 charge left. And so yeah, this is a full replace on that ability.
AKA
so, yeah,
replacing Blast Jump with Sun Snare. Ok. So Gunslinger steals 2 abilities from the Shadowhunter: Sun Snare and the dodge passive. The Oak.
Let's see. Yeah, so it's about 3 seconds when the proximity mines land. They do take like a second or 2. Actually, I think it's only like half a second. Yeah, actually, it's pretty quick. It does take a quick second for it to arm, but then it explodes. So yeah, and that just full sail replaces the jump blast ability. Yeah, why don't we move on to the Bard? All right, for those musical
Bard.
among us, switching to the Bard. All right, so for the Bard, this one, I'll read the description and then show off how it works. We have the Passion Play. Dodging while Bard's song is active can give +1 melody once every 5 seconds. So
Get Trove. That is just thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up for the classic Trove moment. That's number 1. Number 2. 1 dodge, like 1 +1 melody. This one sucks, by the way. +1 melody when you do a dodge. That is not even that good. No, that one is not good. What would you prefer? Getting a +1 melody on after using a dodge, or just getting a insane high movement speed increase while using a dodge? This one is a complete whiff.
okay,
This one sucks.
Sorry, the connection here in our stream room can be a little iffy sometimes, so just having to hit reconnect real quick. All right, well, all right, and we're back. Let's see.
Ay, Dios mío.
Looks like it's going. Sorry, folks. Okay.
That's just
right,
Trove being Trove.
All right. They were just, the Bard, the new Bard effect was just too powerful for our connection here in our streaming room. All right, so yeah, the new hidden effect, which is Passion Play. I don't think I even got through reading it, did I? Yeah. Dodging while Bard song is active can give you pulse melody once every 5 seconds. So how this one will work is, while you're playing a song, when you dodge, you get 1 melody. If you do it while it's, gosh, I'm the worst at Bard. See there when it asks to bar, when it asks to, at the bottom when it's saying for you to dodge, you'll get 2. Yeah, otherwise it works as normal. But then you can kind of, every 5 seconds you can dodge and get extra melody. So kind of the kind of gameplay cycle that we're thinking for this is that it kind of gives you reward for if you're doing a lot of movement and you need to, you're rushing through a dungeon or a delve. You can kind of get some extra melody while you're kind of, dashing through and trying to get through it really quickly. because I know sometimes trying to manage both using the right abilities while doing your song and dodging and everything can
It's good to
sometimes
maintain high melody counts, but
can be tricky. So this kind of gives you a little more leeway and allows you to get extra
this it's
extra
just
melodies.
The ability is just
And let's see.
I know it's really bad.
Yeah, why don't we go over to the Vanguardian? So
Oh,
this
Vanguard.
is another class that I know that has had some larger changes, and apparently this my current character doesn't have a head, but you can just imagine he does. Okay, so basic attacks, and this is basic attacks in both forms, both melee and in ranged forms. I have slightly larger range. So you should be able to punch and shoot.
So increase range on basic. That's interesting. I saw that video of it just being really far away on melee. Range mode didn't need the extra range, but the melee mode,
A little bit
that's
further
interesting.
out than you did before. And then also we're having the melee force flash movement speed buff increased from 30 to plus 30 to plus 40.
Interesting. Plus 40. Force flash. Force flash was plus 30? Oh yeah, it was plus 30. It was a mini pirate. I always thought it was I thought it was plus 20. No, it was not plus 20. It was plus 30. Was it plus 30 or was it plus 20? No, it is plus 30. Yeah, plus 30 plus 25 is plus 20 is the gunslinger, plus 25 is overcharge. So plus 40 force flash and more movement speed, which you can stack it with the dodge hidden effect.
Force flash also periodically vacuums up enemies while active. Okay, yeah, so you can kind of see that there. And
that was not force flash. Force flash is your first ability. That he already did that.
See what else we got.
Okay. Anyways,
it's on the next page. Yeah, and then we have
the hidden effect.
Yeah. So then another one is the eye lasers has significantly longer range.
God damn! What the hell? Wait, that's the eye laser on range mode. That is range mode. This is range mode. Eye beam on range mode. What the hell? I didn't even realize. Hold on. Oh, they changed it. So now Plasma Blast is on melee and Eye Beam is on range. And they increased the range.
The range used to be 6, it's now 18. So you can kind of
18. That is a goddamn snipe from instant ability.
You can shoot people with your eyeballs.
But it's on range mode. Range mode sucks.
Beams really far away now. So this is something that we think will make especially in the range form a lot easier to use. And let's see. Range fire up, and then ranged fired up also now grants plus 10 jump, increased height, jump height, allowing you to leap over small buildings in a single bound.
What the hell?
Let me see. I think that's when I switch, right? All right.
Fired up is the range.
Okay.
I saw that was essentially Cosmic Prime Dragon Jump.
2.
Okay. Fired up.
Am I doing this one wrong? Oh, fired up. I was thinking about the wrong ability. Yeah, okay. So you can see my jump is significantly taller now. So yeah, you can use it to jump over a lot bigger
Those are some
stuff,
significant buffs for Vanguard.
While you're jumping around.
Crazy.
And then I guess
a
we
significant
haven't even
buff.
looked at the hidden effect for the ring. So fired up in Force Flash now also grants 5 seconds of increased stability and health regeneration. So it's
The okay, so it's
a little bit of a
ass.
buff there on those abilities. It's a little.
God damn! What? That vacuum is disgusting. What the hell?
Easy to see here, but
Excuse you?
stability and health regeneration. So it's
Excuse you? What the hell, man? Dude, I can see just people using Vanguard like crazy for 5 arms. Vanguard is going to be so disgusting for 5 arms and maybe even low delve, like low mid delving, even maybe high delve, depending on if they increase the damage. Vanguard is going to be so gross. What the hell? That is so that is an insane
a
buff.
little bit of a buff there on those abilities.
Like, look at that pull.
It's a little, not the easiest.
Look at that pull.
But yeah, you have increased stability.
Excuse
and health
you.
while those two abilities are active.
That's a 6-second pull that you can just activate it passively, and it pulls farther range than the Revenant's ult, than the Candy Barbarian's class gem, and it's instantaneous. So like it pulls enemies instantaneously, like it is not as like a slow pull. That for 6 seconds, especially since Vanguard with class gem can lower cooldown like really quickly. It means that you can just constantly keep pulling enemies in stuff like Curse Skulls with a higher movement speed. And now Plasma Blast, which I didn't even mention, but Plasma Blast is supposed to be the range mode, not the melee mode. But that's beside the point.
Yeah, so I will say that is going to be it for the Vanguardian. Why don't we move over to the let's do the Pirate Captain. Okay, so the Pirate Captains actually had quite a few changes. So let me go to the Pirate Captain. Okay. All right, so I'm over the Pirate Captain. So one thing, I know this was changed a little while ago, but this has been changed again, is that you only can have one first mate out at a time. Damage has been significantly increased on your first mate, and the attack speed has been increased for the tier 1 and tier 2 first mates. Upgrades can now carry over to your next summon first mate for up to 3 minutes. Throwing a
3 minutes?
First mate grant for the tier 1 and tier 2 first mates. Upgrades can now carry over to your next summon first mate for up to 3 minutes.
3 minutes and carrying the buff.
Throwing a first mate grants a short duration movement speed buff as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the kind of the big thing that players will probably want to see, which I might actually go to an adventure world real quick. Let's show this off. Is the class gem.
Yes, the class gem, because previously the class gem allowed you to throw more first mates.
So yeah, let me find a dungeon real quick. I think we got one down here. Yeah.
That it.
So okay, so let's go ahead and go to here. All right. So in the class gem is
that is not the class gem. By the way, this pretty much almost confirms the old abilities. Raiders and all hands deck is old abilities. Wait, anyway, hold on. That's the crystal ring. What am I saying? I'm blind. I'm stupid. What the hell?
Sorry, this is not the class. Sorry, I got the two mixed up. We actually have it's the class gem, not the new mystic ring. So yeah, we have a new class gem.
New class gem.
It's here, Raising Tide.
Throwing the first mate or a mana war creates an explosion. Okay,
It's the empowered water gem for the pirate captain. Throwing a first mate or a mana war creates an explosion. Only one such gem may suck at a time. So yeah, sorry. This one I remember we threw this in, and it's a new class gem. It's not the new hidden effect. The new hidden effect is still in the works.
Hey, what's up? To me, not much. I'm just watching the the dev stream about the new update that is going to come out next week on the test server, which is going to be class rebalancing plus mystic rings. We've seen some insane changes, mainly Vanguardian. I'm still so surprised about the Vanguardian and Fae. Holy, the Fae is kind of it can be quite gross, but at the same time is quite insane.
Pirate captain, so it's not quite in this build. So yeah, you might have already seen it. Oh wait, this isn't a dungeon. What am I doing? Okay. Okay. So we're here, and one thing. Let me try to get into some places, some walls. All right. So you might notice that with this class gem, right? When I throw my first mate, it causes an explosion. And something that players will probably find really useful is now when you use the let's see, the artillery, not artillery, sorry, the
I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude because obviously live streaming, I'm not the best streamer out there. Far from it, in fact. And I get sidetracks and I suck at explaining, but jeez Louise, man. Like if you're doing a presentation or something like that, you need to be essentially on point. Trust me, people had zero patience. I know that for a fact. People have the patience of a squirrel that just had Red Bull. They have no patience. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, it is like nothing but few info, but please, you to me, like when you're doing something like this, you need to, especially if you're a dev, I feel like you need to at least just rehearse or know the stuff that you want to showcase. I'm just saying, I just a little bit of a criticism, especially when doing some presentations, because trust me, it's it's not their fault. It's just the viewers have attention span of a squirrel, and it sucks. Anyways, did they hear about the Mystic Ring? Yeah.
The mana war, rather.
Pretty much the point. Pretty much the point of the whole update is just the Mystic Ring, no hidden effect, and class rebalancing.
Cause an explosion, but it causes terrain.
God damn! What the hell?
Gosh. The mana war, rather. It also causes an explosion, but it causes terrain explosion. So this will be.
Holy! You're throwing a nuke.
Certainly very useful, I think, for players who love dungeon delving and want to be able to get to maybe a little cheeky shortcut. Yeah, you can now use mana war to blow up big holes in walls.
Or just get regular bombs. They're way cheaper, and you don't have to use your ult.
So yeah, that's a new class gem. Like I said, the hidden effect for the new ring that will be coming on PTS, but it's not quite ready for us to show off here on the live stream. Yeah, so that should be, I think, a really fun one for our pirate captain players. Yeah, then why don't we go to the Chloromancer.
Chloro? Okay.
I'm gonna head back into
Interesting.
the hub. Hopefully my target dummies are still there. If not, I can just spawn some more.
Chloro. So let's see. Chloro is up next.
And they're gone. All right. So 1 second. I just gotta remember exactly what I gotta put in real quick.
Sorry. I'm just gonna skip forward. I have attention span of a squirrel. I am going to admit it, but
all right. Okay. So we got a new target dummy. Let me get back and move over to the Chloromancer. Lasher.
okay. Moving on.
Okay.
God
So we have
damn.
the Chloromancer. So now the green guy.
Oh, I was about to say, did they move those? Green Gatling is. Oh yeah, no.
Gatling and the Leafy Lasher both heal up to full strength slightly faster by default.
Okay.
And also this heal will actually get faster as the Chloromancer's power rank increases. Empowered growth now causes.
Wait. Power rank or level? So the more PR that you have, the strong, like the faster the Green Gatling and Leafy Lasher
Plants
heals.
to grow to full strength much faster while active. Now lasts 20 seconds up from 12 seconds and cools down in 70 seconds up. Empowered growth now causes plants to grow to full strength much faster while active. Now lasts 20 seconds up from 12 seconds and cools down in 70 seconds up from 60. So much higher duration.
Why? Why increase the cooldown from 60 to 70 seconds? The ability is not even that strong. Okay. It's already the longest cooldown in the game, and the ability is not even that strong. Why increase the cooldown from by 10 seconds? Increase the duration by 8 seconds, but increase the cooldown by 10. You're essentially just making it less available.
A little bit higher cooldown. We also fixed a bug with the empowered growth Gatling was incorrectly growing at the normal non-empowered rate. So we fixed that as well. And the new hidden effect, let's go to my character, is
Wild Pulse. Replacing Green Gatling with Wild Pulse. A channel ability that allowing the Chloromancer to damage nearby enemies. So an AoE option for the Chloro? Depends on how strong it's going to end up being.
Wild Pulse replaces Green Gatling with Wild Pulse. So this is an full ability swap on this one. A channeled ability allowing the Chloromancer to damage nearby enemies. So let's see. And let's see.
We need to do numbers check.
Yeah, so you can see here. Pulses damage to nearby enemies while active. Snared enemies become stunned briefly while damaged by Wild Pulse. Might be a little hard to see here because this guy just kind of stands here. But let's go to Wild Pulse. Okay. All right. So yeah, put out my Leafy Lasher, which will snare people, and then I have a channeled ability now with my Wild Pulse.
That's interesting.
So yeah, that's a full swap there. And while my Lasher is snared the enemy, it'll actually has a chance to stun them. And there is a little cooldown on the stun, so the enemies can't be stunned for another 15 seconds. But yeah, kind of gives the Chloromancer some extended.
It at least gives the Chloromancer some AoE, which desperately needed it. It's actually pretty solid, but it depends on the damage. Like based on the damage that I'm seeing,
so the enemies can't be stunned for another 15 seconds. But yeah. Has a
Let's just hope that those damage are placeholder, because if that's the actual damage, that damage is so disgustingly low.
Chance to stun.
Like 14 mil from the Empowered Leafy Lasher, which I believe does 2.5. Is it 2.5 or something like that?
On them. Um,
And
and
then,
there is a little
this
cooldown
one doing
the
1.7
stun,
mil.
so the enemies can't be stunned for another 15 seconds. But yeah, kind of gives the Chloromancer some extended, new extended AoE options that aren't tied directly to. While enhanced by your flowers, it isn't tied directly to it. And yeah, I think we're kind of at the end of what we were going to show off today. I know that it's only half the classes, and your favorite class might not have been one we showed off, but when we
Yay! I know they showed the knight,
get
and it was ability was kind of insane.
this
But
out to PTS, which will be early next week, we'll have new hidden effects for every class. So, you know, I think all the other classes, which is going to be the Slayer, the Boom Ranger, Shadow Hunter, Neo Ninja, Tomb Raiser, Revenant, Lunar Lancer, and Dino Tamer are all going to have new hidden effects, and a couple of those classes will also have additional changes.
yes,
Yeah. So, you know, with the so we're having so just kind of the recap, what we kind of showed off here on this stream is we have
yes,
the new Mystic Rings, so a new tier of rings. If you screenshotted some of the stats on these rings, don't worry about it. Those are not final. There's especially some issues with the light that's on those rings, so don't worry if you saw the light didn't seem to be correct there. They'll be fixed before it gets to PTS. And yeah, so yeah, that's what we got for our upcoming patch, and this will be coming up very soon. It'll be coming out to PTS next week. Why don't we go to the next
I'm pretty sure.
giveaway?
Okay.
Shirt message.
Let's see if they have something else.
All right, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's everything that they showcase. But there is like 10 minutes of stream. I would assume this is probably going to end up being like wrapping up. But we're talking about 5 more minutes.
Give away those.
Somebody has to understand. Definitely butchered that.
We are going to be giving away the.
I'm pretty sure that's the end.
Yeah, make sure you open up your DMs, or we're gonna have to give these prizes away to wrap up here in a second. So yeah, make sure you get in, close that up.
And
be a little bit of a boost, so to playability and fun and power. So yeah, be great to have you guys there.
everyone.
Yeah,
Oh,
next week a little bit of a boost. Thanks everybody. I think we're gonna.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me put on some background music. Maybe I'll just put this stream on mute and then just let it roll for a little bit. Let me put this. All right. So essentially the stream just ended. I'm just putting a little bit of a quick recap of, well, not a quick recap, just essentially showcasing everything that is just going on. But let me just explain or just give a little bit of a TLDR on everything that just we got in this live stream. I didn't even put some notes. I was just listening and giving my initial reactions to it. But as a quick TLDR on what ended up just happening during this whole live stream, they essentially just announced a couple of things. Number one, the Tiny Quest update that was supposed to be coming out last month, essentially by the end of March, that essentially got pushed back. I would assume mainly because of the feedback that it received. Pretty much no one liked the update. mainly because of the execution of the update was so completely horrid. I've been pretty open about it myself. Like, you can actually just even check some of those streams. Like, the Tiny Quest update is really, really bad in terms of execution. The idea is okay, but the execution was horrid. So that is going to get pushed back for later, and instead we're going to get this update, which is going to be Ring Out. Oh no, Ring It Out. That's the update name. Ring It Out, which is going to be focusing on Mystic Ring. And Mystic Ring is going to end up having one new hidden effect, for what I can tell is one new hidden effect for every single character for all 18 classes. And every single Mystic Ring hidden effect is going to have a universal hidden effect, which is going to be a hidden effect that you can have it on any single class, which essentially is the Shadowhunter's passive ability for any single character. Called, I believe it was like Rush Runner, whatever the hell it is. It's probably going to be showcased in the background footage right now. But that is essentially what you're going to end up getting. The whole live stream, what they did is they showcase a bunch of the hidden effects and a bunch of buffs. That's also another thing that they showcase, is that they buff some of the characters. There's no nerfs. There is only buff thus far. The characters that receive a buff, as far as I know, are, or that they showcase, is Vanguard, Faye. Well, technically Faye got the Snowfall, but Faye got a buff. It was Vanguard, Faye, and Fire Captain. Fire Captain was the other one. I think those were the three ones. I should have kept notes for all of them, but I'm not professional. I don't care. But Vanguard, Faye were the three that were notable in terms of buff. Like, I'm talking like default buffs, not talking about the hidden effects. But they showcased the hidden effect for Candy Barbarian, for, these were the order, for Draco, Candy Barbarian, Draco, Ice Age, Knight, Faye. What else? Gunslinger. It was Gunslinger, Bard, Vanguardian, Fire Captain, and that was it. That was the last one. And Chloro. That was all. Those were like all the classes that got a showcase, a hidden effect. And I believe those were like all the classes, like Vanguardian, Glomance also got a buff. Like, all of those classes got at least a change, like a hidden effect showcase. Not all of them, not all of the classes, but every single class is going to end up having one of them. Now, how do we get the Crystal Ring hidden effect? We don't know. I would assume that they're going to give us ring crafting rank 350, maybe even 400. Who knows? I would assume that we are going to end up getting ring crafting 350. I wouldn't get past that one, but, and it's more than likely going to end up costing the resources that you get in Longshade, also the depth cores, plus the Paragon resources, and maybe even potentially new ones. Hopefully not, because considering that these hidden effects can be quite game changer, already putting a, what is it? Like, already putting new resources tied to like this is going to already suck. And considering that most of the resources is going, that more than likely is going to end up costing, is like, it's going to take a little while for people to actually just get there in the first place. So that's all of the news that we got. The test server is going to come out next week. So next week we're going to get this exact same update on the test server, so we should be able to do testing ourselves and just check the abilities and check the numbers and all that. A little bit of a TLD, no, not a TLDR, but out of the characters that we've seen thus far. So the hidden effects, I'm just going to be scrolling, just telling you what we got. So the Candy Barbarian, we got an effect that it essentially, I'm just going to leave it like right there. It essentially, what it does is when you activate your Sugar Crash, your secondary ability, and then activate Vanilla Swirlwind, 5 enemies around you are going to get hit with like a candy drop. That's the hidden effect on the Candy Barbarian. Do I think it's going to replace, like, if we take away like the new universal hidden effect that is absolutely ridiculous, do I think is this one normally would have replaced Spin to Win? I don't think so. I think Spin to Win is still better. It gives some good like, what is it, like, it gives some like good alternative for extra damage, but it really doesn't help with the Candy Barbarian in general, because you essentially need to activate Sugar Crash. Sugar Crash can be quite dodgy, especially if you're lagging. And then we don't know about the damage output. I would assume the damage output is not even going to be that great. So if I have to choose between this one or Spin to Win, I will still pick Spin to Win over this one out of the hidden effects, out of the new one. So that's my first initial thoughts. But Rush Escape, that's the universal hidden effect. The universal hidden effect is so disgustingly good. It essentially is, first of all, it's universal, so any character can get it. Secondly, it gives a movement speed increase after you do a dodge, so it's essentially the Shadowhunter passive ability. And I would assume, since they like to essentially just recycle the ability, I would assume it's the exact same buff, a plus 40 movement speed buff, which is insane, especially with certain characters. Like, especially the Vanguardian. The Vanguardian is going to be so disgustingly OP with all the buff that it got. Plus that Rush Escape hidden effect is going to be Vanguardian, depending on how good if the Shadowhunter can stack its own passive with that one, with Rush Escape, Vanguardian might be potentially one of the best characters for endgame 5-star dungeons, because we're going to end up having more stats for 5-star dungeons. We're already deleting 5-star dungeons, and with Force Flash just pulling all enemies instantaneously, plus more range on the basic attack. And they didn't even mention, but they swapped their first ability, so Plasma Blast is now for melee and I-Beam is now for range mode. But he did not mention that one. He forgot to mention that one, but that is a thing that happened. But yeah, this is the new hidden effect for the Candy Barbarian. You essentially just do Sugar Crash, then do Vanilla Swirlwind, and you get those essentially cannonballs, which is to an extent the same as, let me just lower the volume right here. I don't know what's going on with my mic. Sorry about that. Let's see. I was messing around with the audio on my microphone, so because it was cutting off like when I was doing recording a little bit before. Either way. But yeah, with the Vanguardian, the changes to the Vanguardian, that I'm expecting a lot of people to use the Vanguard if those changes go like this, and it all depends on some of the other changes, some of the other hidden effects. But the Vanguardian got buffed on its regular kit, and it's not damage increases. Like I believe the damage is still the same, so Vanguard damage is not high. So it's not going to be making the Vanguard ultimately just surpass the Boomeranger in terms of DPS. No, the Vanguard did not get any damage increases. Mostly just range and utility. So low stats with Vanguard is not going to be a thing. It's just going to be like pretty much like high stats or endgame Vanguardian. Okay, so the other one is Draco. So currently, like the Draco one is bugged as is shown right there because it can activate it without having to charge it, which that will make it extremely just disgusting. So essentially that ability, what it does is when you activate Spitfire, your first ability or your little ally, is going to, instead of shoot one fireball in front of you, it's just going to shoot, how many fireball was that? A lot. But let's see how many. It's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 fireballs around you. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 10. So you're going to shoot 10 fireballs around you. Don't know if I'm pretty sure each and every single one of them is going to dish out damage. So you essentially can just do what you do with like Shadow Seekers on the Shadow Hunter, where you can just essentially stand next to the boss and just activate that ability, and you're going to essentially just do a shotgun blast, which can make the Draculite do in pretty disgustingly high burst damage depending on the damage on that ability, of course, and if all of them do damage, which I would assume they do. But depending on how slow it charges, I don't know. Because normally it's like what, like 2 hits, something like that, to actually just charge once. It's like two to 3 hits. It's usually I believe it says 3, but I think it's 2 hits. So you can essentially just shotgun your way into the enemy. But it all depends on how strong that ability is going to end up. Well, how much damage each projectile does. So that one could be very hit or miss. And I don't know if it is going to overtake the rush escape, but more than likely it might. If we're strictly only looking for DPS on this character. Okay, the Ice Age one was interesting. So I believe it was, yes, Frozen Tempest. So this one replaces Ice Crash. So your first ability, the one that throws the ice from atop, and it essentially just gives the Ice Age the Frozen Tempest, which just does the exact same thing as Big Chill, your second ability, where it hits all enemies around you and it gives you a movement speed increase. So what I thought about this one, it was, if you're in a portal when you're just essentially almost one-shotting a lot of enemies, this ability could be really good in just maintaining high movement speed buff, because you're getting movement speed buff from this ability, plus you're killing a bunch of enemies, which is going to ultimately be like really good for like stuff like low delving, because low delving, like low mid delving, like you can just essentially just keep activating this ability constantly, since this ability doesn't cost a lot of energy and you can easily just maintain high energy. You can just pull enemies and just keep spamming this and keep killing all enemies around you. This could be interesting for like low delving and low portals and such. But I don't know if you can overtake this one over Rush Escape if we're strictly looking for quote-unquote speed farming. I think Rush Escape is going to be better for speed farming, and Frozen Tempest is going to be like better for like low delving. This one is okay. It's not great, it's not bad. It all depends on damage as well. Okay, so now let's start talking about my main, the Knight. So the Knight got an interesting this is an interesting ability because I believe I suggested this, not to this extent, by the way, mind you, that I believe Iron Will was just so like really really bad. If you actually check in my feedback video where I talked about the feedback on the character, I always said the Iron Will needed some changes. Like it was really really bad. It was extremely lackluster. It only gave you health and a protection that pretty much every single character can get. So me personally, I was suggesting in like my in the video that I did when I was talking about the 5 classes that I think needed adjustments. Yeah, though those were Iron Will was definitely a thing that I did mention with the Knight for sure. So this one completely changes your Iron Will or your character in general. So what it does is it will replace Iron Will with the ability called Momentum Shift. When you activate the ability, your Iron Will, your ult, it will just increase your damage, your stability, your attack speed, and energy regeneration. I don't know why the energy regeneration. It doesn't use energy, you use basic attack. I guess, whatever. You essentially just become big mode. Like the same buff that you get when you get the big mode from the boomeranger or something like that, that you do like insanely high damage, you do like more attack speed and all that. And yeah, that one. So, but when it is inactive, so when you don't have your ultimate ability active, it will increase the health regeneration and movement speed. So what this translates is that this is just overcharge but better. So this, if Rush Escape was not there, this would have been the best hidden effect for the Knight. It wasn't even close. Because none of the hidden effects from the Knight are good. And Overcharge is pretty decent, but it's good for the Knight because of how the Knight ability works. And how it well it synergizes with. But this is just a plain movement speed increase where you don't even need to activate your ultimate ability and you're going to get a permanent movement speed increase. Then you don't even need to activate overcharge like at all. But it all depends on how much movement speed that you're going to end up getting with the passive momentum shift, which I don't, from the looks of it, just from the brief that I just seen right there in comparison between when it moves like this and without the, and when it activates your ult, or when it activates the ult, like the difference was like it gives me like plus 30 movement speed by default, like a plus 20 or plus 30. It doesn't give me like a big increase in movement speed by default, mind you. And also that disgusting knockback, holy, it's like the Knight's like the only one that has like that big of a knockback on basic attack. That is just absolutely disgusting. But yeah, hopefully that just gets tuned down because that knockback is not good. That knockback is just so disgusting. I don't like that knockback. It's like it reminds me of the knockback the Vanguardian had when it launched. Like before it launched, when it was the Vanguardian was still brand new. Like it has some disgustingly high knockback, and it made the class just so bad to play. And now the knight has it, and is especially really bad considering that the knight's basic attack is both extremely short range and extremely fast. So you're going to be constantly just chasing down a bunch of enemies, which happened to me a lot when I was on the test server. So hopefully that one gets tuned down, because that is not good. You will be moving faster, yay, but you know the basic attack already lowers your movement speed by 30%. So no, I think that's the only gripe that I have. But the knight, as far as I know, the knight hasn't gone any changes, like any buffs, any nerfs, or whatever. It's just, like the hidden effect. Which, again, if Rush Escape was not there, this would have been like the best hidden effect that the knight has, like, ever. It's not even close, because it already gives the passive movement speed the overcharge technically already has. Plus, it gives you a DPS increase essentially when you activate your ult, which is essentially a win-win with the knight. It gives you both options. So if you're struggling a little bit on the knight in terms of damage output, this hidden effect might be a good option. But if not, if you're already at the end game, Rush Escape would probably be better, even despite the knight having like really, really bad dodge. Like a really, really bad dodge. So okay, so this is one of the more insane ones. Fate Trickster. Oh my god, the Fate Trickster. Fate Trickster has received some insane changes. It has one of them that I did not like. But now, first, Fate Trickster gains movement speed by default on level up. Not by default. So it gains movement speed on level up. So you gain, I believe it's one movement. It gains movement, so it didn't specify how much, but I would assume it's one movement speed per 5 levels. So similar to something like Neon Ninja and Bard, where you get +6 movement speed when you are level 30. So at level 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30, so one movement speed in each of those levels. So it means that you're going to get +6. So the same as Neon Ninja and the same as Bard. I would assume that is the one that is going to be. And it's also going to get a jump increase on level up. So from what I could tell, since it's already at level 30, I believe it's like right over there. I believe it's like roughly around the same jump height that you would get if you have Repel Rune equipped. And considering that you can stack with Repel Rune, it means that you can just relatively high. So I'm pretty sure that is that. But if you definitely notice, that is not good. That one is not good. The slow fall. I believe that's just default. Now, the Fate Tracer is going to end up having a slow fall by default. I've already explained it multiple times. The slow fall doesn't work in this game, especially because there's a lot of verticality in Trove, and even more so in stuff like Dells. But many biomes are very strong vertically. Like has a lot of verticality, and the slow fall really, really doesn't work. Especially a long one like this one. That's why like stuff like Gunslinger is really not that great for dungeon grinding, is because of the slow fall. But not great for dungeon grinding. It's not a great speed farmer, despite having a movement speed buff that is tied to the ability that kills. Well, the ultimate ability, the ability that you're using all the time. And that's essentially why the Gunslinger is like really, really rough to play. And now Fate Trickster now has that by default. That to me is not great. It's not great. But all of the rest of the changes for Fate Twister is pretty insane. It got a damage increase on the basic attack, and now the blink, the teleport, now has a 2-block range increase, and the hidden effect, which is called blink. Look at that. Look at that teleport. By sacrificing your decoy, you essentially double the length of your blink. So you can go, so it goes from the now buffed 8 block to 16 blocks if you do have this hidden effect. So imagine a 16 block teleport that you can spam because it has no cooldown on this character. It's going to be so insanely strong to the point that it's going to be uncontrollable. The thing is, it's like, I would assume, since it no longer spawns a decoy, I would assume that it doesn't work with the old class gem, right? So for those who still had the old class gem, the one that we got before the Eclipse update, I don't think it's going to work with this because you no longer spawn a decoy. I don't think it's going to end up just working out for that. Okay, so Gunslinger, this one is a so this one is pretty funny. So the Gunslinger has one of those effects where you can see it right there, Mind Time. Blast Jam is replaced with Proximity Mine, which explodes after 3 seconds or when an enemy is near. Your Blast Jump is your secondary ability, the one that you shoot into the ground and you get sent flying. This essentially just replaces that ability with Sun Snare from the Shadowhunter. It's exactly the same. The only difference is like it no longer it doesn't cost energy, but instead you have stacks. You can have up to maximum of 5 stacks on you. So it's a worse Sun Snare because not only the proximity is way worse. I believe the proximity, from what I can tell, is like maybe 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 2 blocks. I would assume 2 blocks in radius versus Shadowhunter, which I believe is 3.5 or 4 blocks. I don't remember the Shadowhunter from the top of my head, but it's like around 3.5, 4 blocks. This one is around 2 blocks. It has cooldown, and you can only throw up to 5 of them at the same time. This one is just a worse Sun Snare from Shadowhunter. And it works exactly the same. You throw a trap down, and it looks exactly the same as the Shadowhunter's Sun Snare, by the way. This is the Shadowhunter Sun Snare if you have... I don't remember which costume it is, but it's like this one. But you essentially have Sun Snare with Gunslinger, which is okay. And the radius seems to be, let's see, like around here. So yeah, it's around 2 blocks in radius. And it procs exactly the same, it's just instantaneously. The one from the Bard is just trash. Don't even bother. It's just +1 melody every 5 seconds after you do a dodge. At that point, just use Rush Escape. Rush Escape, it literally gives you a movement speed buff after you do a dodge. So you can stack that with Jubilant Song. Go crazy. This character is going to be disgustingly fast. So Bard in itself is, the hidden effect is not even that good. Really ass, not gonna lie. The Vanguard in itself, this class got so much disgusting buffs. So this was never mentioned in the whole stream, but I noticed this immediately because I'm a freak and I know logos from characters. But if you actually see right here, this is not I-Beam, this is Plasma Blast. And if you can tell, this is blue. So if it is blue, Plasma Blast, that means that your Plasma Blast is now on melee mode and your I-Beam is now on range mode. Which makes sense considering that I-Beam got buffed to hell And I-beam is supposed to give you a close range option while you are in range mode, and Plasma Blast should give you a long range option when you're in melee mode, giving you a little bit more range. So, the first couple of things that the Vanguardian actually just received was a basic attack. I noticed this immediately. Like, look at this. Look at that range. Oh wait, this is not YouTube. I cannot do. I cannot do point and comma. But yeah, you can actually just see it right here. It's hitting the target like right around here. That's around like 3 or 4 block range. Well, not 3 block range. This is 3 block range in front of it. This is 4 block range. And I don't remember if it counts like diagonal like as different, but this range is ridiculously long. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're talking about 4 block, maybe even 5 blocks in range. 4 to 4.5 blocks in range with the melee basic attack on Vanguardian. Which is good, because Vanguardian had the shortest range basic attack if we're not counting Neon Ninja's BS with the attack speed. They increase also the range on range mode, but who cares? The range mode basic attack was already like 24 block, so it doesn't even matter. Maybe it increases like better targeting and AoE or something. Don't know. Don't care. At the end of the day, you will still mostly be using melee mode on Vanguardian. Now even more so that you have Plasma Blast, which is insane, by the way. Plasma Blast has disgusting AoE range. So Vanguardian is going to be like really good to have double energy regeneration stacks for the most part. So that's number one. So yeah, you can also see right here I-beam. So that got swapped. So now I-beam is on range mode. But yeah, I-beam got insane, like an insane range increase. And look at this. I believe right now is it went from 6 to, was it like 18 blocks or 17 blocks? No, it was 16 blocks. It was something like that. I believe it went from like 6 to 16 blocks. Like more than 2.5 times more range with the I-beam. A no cooldown 8.5 times, 8 times damage ability with 16 block range. Too bad that it is. The problem is like with that insane range, that would have been insanely good for building up speed. Considering that Force Flash, the melee buff got huge buffs, which I will showcase that like momentarily. But yeah, they fired up. Gives you essentially Cosmic Primordial Dragon Advanced Jump, which when you activate it, you're going to get a huge jump during the whole duration on that ability and fired up. But the one that just made me absolutely lose it was the Force Flash. Look at this. What the hell is this? Outside of giving you a plus 40 movement speed instead of plus 30, you're now getting essentially the big suck. Essentially, that's what you're getting. You're getting the big suck. You have no idea how disgustingly good that is, especially on something like 5-star dungeon, you can just activate it. All enemies are going to be clumped up towards you, similar to Cyclone, and you just keep using your basic attack on your Vanguardian, which again does pretty high damage. And by the time that you finish one or two waves of like Curse Skull, you have your Force Flash again, so you can essentially just keep stacking this over and over and over and over again. That's how good this is. Like, it is so good because it essentially just makes you just keep stacking your Force Flash over and over and over and over and over again. And for Curse Skull, in 5-star dungeon, which is like where the Vanguardian has the most problem, it's no longer going to be a problem. So you're going to essentially just do like that, activate Force Flash. All enemies are going to be pulled like that immediately and really fast. So knockback is going to be a non-issue. You can do that, spam Plasma Blast, and just to delete every single enemy, and then just keep using your basic attack to reduce your cooldown, and voila, you have Force Flash again, because Force Flash is still on a 20-second cooldown. So it's relatively short. And then you stack that with the Rush Escape Hidden effect, and you have a speed farming monster. Especially for 5-star dungeons. For endgame 5-star dungeon, I can see a lot of people using Vanguardian now. Like, genuinely. Now, Pirate Captain just received some changes. Now, you know, the first mate turret, the first mate turret, it was one turret before. Then it got buffed. I don't remember. It was relatively recently. It was when they the class changes, when they made the Neon Ninja do the front flip. They also gave the Pirate Captain 2 turrets by default, and then you can have 3 of them with the class gem. But now they essentially just remove everything. Now you can only have 1 turret, but obviously they just increase the damage and the attack speed for that one particular turret. And the buff, from what I've noticed, from what I've heard, is the buff from the turret. It doesn't reset every single time that you throw another one. The buff is going to remain for 3 minutes. So essentially you don't have to essentially level up your turret every single time that you're into a dungeon, or if you're doing boss end or whatever. You just throw one of them, attack, and you're going to get the buff, and then you can move on to the next one. And when you throw the turret, you're going to have the turret already fully leveled up. Combine that with the removal of the multiple turrets. Now you can only have one of them, and that's the change that Pirate Captain received. Now the other thing is the class gem. If you notice, every single time that he throws a turret, there's an explosion. The class gem no longer gives you an extra first mate turret. Now what it does is that when you activate either your first mate or your Man of War, your ultimate ability, it's going to create an explosion. The first mate doesn't do terrain damage. The Man of War explosion does terrain damage. So that's the Pirate Captain changes. And the last one that we got was the Chloromancer. I believe the Chloromancer, the plants by default regenerate faster, a little bit faster. And the ultimate ability lasts longer, but it has a longer cooldown, which is counterproductive at the end of the day. Because the timer got increased by 8 seconds, but the cooldown got increased by 10. So you're going to have it less often if you don't use cooldown reduction. And the hidden effect is Wind Pulse. So, Wild Pulse, sorry. Which essentially just makes the Chloromancer have Banshee's Boon, if or a Pyre Disc or something like that, where you essentially activate the ability and you have a ring around your character that does damage over time, or a constant Leafy Lasher that takes energy per second, similar to a Banshee's Boon or something like that. That's the new hidden effect. If I want to just put it there, just in the most simpler terms, it's essentially an on-demand Pyre Disc that reduces your energy per second, similar to Banshee's Boon. And those are all of the changes that we saw. And the rest of the characters are going to, we have to wait essentially and see by the time that we get into the test server, which is going to be next week. So that's all. That's the whole stream. Overall, the stream is, it was relatively interesting. There's a lot of things for that we got. Like certain character got insane buffs. Vanguardian is the main one that comes to mind. The Vanguardian buffs are just absolutely disgustingly good. And outside of like the Vanguardian buffs, like all of the hidden effects, like some of them are just very interesting. The Rush Escape, to me, like on one hand is like really good, but on the other hand it's like it invalidates so many of the hidden effects, because what's the point in having a, let me just go back and footage, whatever, just keep it like that. What's the point in having new hidden effects if you can have a hidden effect that allows you to get the Shadowhunter dodge passive ability? Especially where there's a lot of character that does not have any movement speed buffs. This is going to be like really, really good for them. I.e., for example, Tomb Raiser, Gunslinger, Dracolite, Chloro, Boomerang. Boomerang does have a movement speed buff, but it's kind of eh. Even the Ice Age, like Ice Age. Ice Age does have a movement speed buff, but it's tied to the ult, and you can just essentially stack. And Ice Age does have a really, really good dodge. Same with Faye, same with Chloro. Like those three characters have a really, really good dodge. The other thing is like Shadowhunter. Does the Shadowhunter stack with Rush Escape and its own passive ability? If both of them stack, we're potentially looking at plus 80 movement speed, plus 80%. Potentially, by the way. Which means Shadowhunter will be running at Lunar Lancer need for speed level with Rush Escape if they do stack, by the way. You can just imagine a Shadowhunter running at need for speed level 5, 600 plus movement speed, absolutely deleting enemies within a second and moving from point A to point B. And don't get me started again, is only tied to your dodge, a 2-second cooldown. So essentially you can have it indefinitely. The Rush Escape is an extremely huge game changer, but at the same time it can be quite risky, especially for certain characters. Well, not risky, but it's like you're essentially just stepping up the movement speed gain to a whole new level. I'm not even kidding. This is such a big change to every single character. Well, most characters, not every single one. To most characters, that we could potentially just see new characters for like really, really good speed. Oh my god, the Dino Tamer. I just realized, dude, you can use Rush Escape with Dino Tamer. And also that those two stacked together is going to be also pretty disgusting considering that DT is like really, really good. Like Dino Tamer, like we haven't seen Dino Tamer, but Dino Tamer with Rush Escape is going to be like insanely good. And I am lagging. Woohoo! I just dropped some frames, and I am dropping frames. Yippee Yahoo, internet, I love you. I don't, I hate you with a bloody passion. Why is my internet being so ass right now? Well, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Hopefully. It doesn't start like chugging up unnecessary nonsense. Yes, my internet is poor. You don't need to tell me twice. Good thing is like this background footage is not going to be that big of a deal. Let me just check Discord. Oh yeah, they also did mention, I just read a little bit on the patch note. They also did mention some stuff like marketplace coming soon, but there's going to be some compensation, which again is not too surprising. Uh, Switch is behind, so they're going to be working on Switch, and they have been working on the login issues. That's essentially it. That's what's going on. Anyways, I don't think I got a lot of things to say about this. We just have to wait and see until next week. The one thing that I will say is that I'm still waiting for my PC to arrive. Obviously, like it's probably going to arrive by the end of this month or maybe even next month. So that in itself, I still have to wait. But I'm just praying and hoping that I get that one. I will also I'm also working on the HoloCure video. But like I did took a little bit of a break on it. But that video is like halfway done. I'll still end up posting it regardless of what it is. Again, I'm not going to just strictly just make Trove videos anymore. But I will stream Trove. Especially like again, like I just mentioned in my Trove video, like if we get like a big update, then I will stream it, and this is a big update, so I am streaming it. So yeah, that is it for me. I don't have a lot of things to say. I'm very surprised on this update. Some things are great. Like for the most part, it's mostly positive. It's mostly a positive update. I'm not going to sit here and just say that, oh yeah, this is here, this is bad. Like at worst is, oh yes, Mystic Ring. Yippee. We don't want like I'm afraid of how this is going to be implemented. But outside of that, it's like it's mostly been character changes, which is always good. So I'm not going to put my expectation really, really high, like always. But at the very least, from what I've seen thus far, at least this is good. This is how they should be doing, by the way. Like they should be doing this more often. Like class rebalancing, class update, like all of this, they should be doing this more often. I don't know why they took them so long to start doing like class rebalancing. We know how good Shadowy Spotlight was in 2022. Why did it took 4 years for a class rebalancing? Beats the hell out of me. But we got another class. We're getting more rebalancing, and we got the previous one a couple of months back with the changes to like the Neon Ninja and whatever. And now we're getting a bunch of new changes with the new hidden effect, Mr. Rings, and some of the class buffs like the Vanguardian, which is relatively insane. But I don't have a lot of things to say. I think that would be it for me. Is 2 hours. Is 3 a.m. for me. So I'm going to end the whole video or stream right here. So thank you everyone for dropping by as always. I know this one's a little bit of a late stream. I normally don't do streams, but if I do stream whatever the hell I want. But I don't do like reaction type streams and all of this. I don't like doing reaction type video because I do pause a lot and I do talk a lot. I do yap a lot. So yeah, that's just the way that it is. Either way, I hope to see you guys next week when we get this update on the test server. Hopefully I get to do this update earlier rather than what I did today, which was a little bit later. Thank you as always. I'm just going to put the Trove ending screen right there. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Take care, keep on hunting, and see you next week.